Hi, I'm Laura and welcome to my channel. I have 5 ways to share with you today to lift a mature eye with makeup. Now, I have the same issues that you have, I'm sure, if you're my age. I'm almost 55, or if you're older. I have sagging skin. I'm always looking for ways to hide wrinkles and brighten. So I have some products that work for me I'd like to share with you and some tips. My first tip is for brows. Now, what I realized a couple of months ago is that I was really aging myself with my brows. I do not have Brooke Shields brows. I've talked about that before. My brows are very fine, and they've always been fine. It's not from overplucking. I just never had thick brows. But what I was doing, I had a few extra little hairs down here that I was leaving and drawing the line to there, and it was really drawing my eyebrows down. So what I did, I found some brows I really liked. I took a picture with me to Ulta, to their brow bar, and the girl did my brows, and I thought they turned out amazing. Now, one tip to share with you, I have my Sigma pencil that I'm going to use today, is when you're trying to decide where do I put the arch, how far do the brows go, you sort of take your pencil, and I'm lining it up here with the center of my eye. That's where the arch should be, over here. And then if you line it here, this is at the edge of my eye here, this is where the brow should stop. So this is sort of the placement for the brows. So what I did, what she did actually, was pluck those extra little hairs out, and it extended the brow. Now, what products you use is really going to depend on how your brows are and the look you're going for. I want a very natural brow, a very soft brow. I think that's less aging on the eyes. So I prefer to use a pencil and some powder and a little bit of gel to set them. Now, if you have really thick brows, you can get away probably with a brow gel with some color in it and just fill in. But what I'm going to do first, what I like about this pencil from Sigma, it has a brush built in right on it. So I'm going to brush my brows sort of up. And then what I like to do is sort of trace where I want the brows to go and then start filling in. So I want a little extra in this area where it's not as thick. And then I'm going to pencil in above the brow where I would like it to be. I'm giving it a little extra height. And then I'm just going in with little strokes. And again, I'm not doing a whole lot at the front of the brow so they don't look like Groucho Marx. And I'm doing a little more color and shading towards the edge of the brow. And now I'll go in with a little bit of powder and gel. Sigma sent me these brow products, and I really just think they're great because they're long lasting. I've been wearing them for probably close to a month now before speaking about them because I really wanted to give them a try. And they're just wonderful. The brow powder that I'm about to show you just is very natural. Now, the shade they sent me is medium. They also sent me a medium pencil, and it just fills in everything nicely. Now, the brushes I'm using today are from a new line they came out with that's more affordable. It's called Practk, like practically or practical, and they really are fantastic brushes. Now, you can use any clear gel you have. I'm using the Sigma today. Again, I've been wearing this to school, and when I come home, my brows actually still have powder, which is wonderful. A lot of times before, without using any clear gel, I would come home and most of my brows would be gone. So I like still having my brows at the end of the day. So as you can see, now we're starting to get a more lifted look. So the shape of your brows really can lift the eyes and make them look more youthful. Before I put on my shadows, I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape as a primer and just put this all over the eye. Now, when I first saw this concealer brush, I thought, oh my gosh, this thing is huge, but it gives you a very diffused look, which is exactly what I'm going for. So I'm just applying this. I find that this Tarte Shape Tape really does keep the shadows on nice, and I love it for under my eye. I barely use a dot of this. So I'm just going underneath. Another tip is to make sure to give yourself a lifted look, that you sort of take your concealer and go up like this. Now, you could do this when you're all done with your shadows. I prefer to sort of give myself a little line to follow. One thing I notice when people put on shadows, or when I've done it, sometimes we go too far and bring the shadows down here, and this can give you a very dark look where your eyes look like they're going in a downward look. So I like to bring the concealer up on the sides to keep the eyes lifted. So my second tip is all about eyeshadow placement. I am going to be using today the Naked Reloaded palette. I went out and bought this because I bought it for my daughter and tried it and went nuts over it. I think it's my favorite, I shouldn't say I think, it is my favorite Naked palette they've come out with. It's just beautiful, and I think it's great for mature eyes because there's so many gorgeous neutrals and so many mattes. So I'm going to start off with Bribe, and I'm using this brush, which I know looks huge. It's a highlighter brush, but it gives you a very airbrushed look. I'm going all over the eye with this, and I find it goes on smoother than if I use a regular eye brush. So I just love this. I've done this before on camera where I've shown a highlighter brush for the base color. Now I'm even going to go in the crease here with this brush, and I'm just going to put boundaries right on the tip of the brush and go in here. And I find when I'm getting ready in the morning, doing this is just so much quicker. Now one thing I would say is when you're doing the crease, sort of pick it up and bring the shadow up a little bit sort of towards the edge of your eyebrow, instead of doing such a dome shape. I think the dome shape looks great on a younger person, but the dome shape, placing it that way, can give you a very downward look, and we want everything lifted. So I'm just going in with boundaries and giving a little bit of color to the crease area. And just building this till I get enough color, and then I'm going to go right on to the lid. And for the lid, I'm going to grab this pencil brush, and I'm going to go right on the side at an angle with, first I'm going to start with Bucked, and just go in here, just on the side. I'm not going to bring it in too far because I really want it to be lifted. I think when you bring the shadow in towards this far, that you close off the eye and it doesn't look lifted anymore. But if you keep the placement on the outer edge, the dark part, it will just really give you a lifted look. So I'm going back in with Bucked on this side. You can see now the angle that I'm creating. And now I'm going to deepen it a little bit with Endgame. And again, I'm going to keep that on the outer edge. And I'm going to smudge this up in just a minute. I'm just sort of laying the product down right now. And then I'll start blending it with the blending brush. I'm using my small blending brush to blend this up at the corners. Again, you can use any small blending brush that you already have at home. And I'm sort of just blending up and in. I don't want to come this way because then I'm going to pull shadow down. So I'm just blending this up and a little bit over. And I'm going to drag a little bit of the color into the outer part of the crease, just keeping it in the outer edge. I really love this shade here. It's called Dream Weaver, and it just adds this little bit of sparkle. I'm going in with the pencil brush, and I'm going to, just where this is blending out, just tap a little of this in here, just to add a little special something. And then I'll be going in with, it's called Angel Fire, just in the center of the lid, and I'll be using my finger for that to apply it. I'm just going to rub my finger. This is such a beautiful shade, and I'm just going to push it into the lid just here. What I found is if I bring the shadow, too much of it into this corner, all my crepiness shows. So what I like to do is keep the majority of the product on the center of the eye, and then I just take any kind of flat brush. I'm going to use this flat brush here and just bring a little bit of it in just so it blends, but there's just very little product there. My third tip has to do with eyeliner. I love using powder liner, and I especially love it on the bottom lash line. What I do is go into a medium shade like Bucked from the palette and just put it on a pencil brush and just run it right underneath these lashes and take it in the corner and give it a little flick. And if you find the color's not enough, you can just take a little bit of a deeper brown on the corner and flip from the bottom line. But this can really give the eye that illusion of being lifted. I really love the way powder looks as a liner, and I think it's great for a mature woman, especially if your eyesight's not that great. Mine isn't that great up close, and when you're just using a pencil brush along the lash line, it's just so easy to do. Now, my next tip is about highlighting the brow, but not just the brow, your whole face. Since my early 40s, I have used this highbrow from Benefit, and I absolutely love it. It is great for lifting the brow, but I find I can lift other areas with it too. Now, what I do is I just use it right in this area of the brow. I don't, from the arch to the tail, I don't do it all the way down here. And then I just blend it out with my finger like this. You can do it above the brow also to give a more sculpted brow and give some extra lift. Now I use it also down the center of my nose like this and above the Cupid's bow and just anywhere I feel like, let's do the cheeks. You can see how lifted and beautiful that is. And what I like about this, it's not shimmery. It's matte. So I think for a mature woman, that's a great way to get a lifted look without looking too sparkly and just having a look that just doesn't look as polished. My last tip has to do with mascara. Now, most people I know use a lot of mascara everywhere and just put as much as they can get. But what I feel is by keeping the mascara more in the center of your lashes, you can get a more lifted look. I find when I put too much mascara on these outer lashes, again, it shows the shape of the drooping and makes my eyes look more downturned. So I do put mascara there, but less of it. So when I'm putting on my mascara, I get off as much from the wand as I can get, just till the wand is almost clean. And then go in and I sort of start with the center, get those lashes going, and then I just put a little bit on the inside. I think of the lashes sort of in 3 sections, and then a little bit on these outside lashes. You know, I tried false lashes a few times, and when I put them on the outer corner, like a lot of women my age do, I found that my eyes looked like they were droopier. And actually, my eyes look much heavier. And the times I wore them, several people commented, "You look older with those lashes. You look better with your natural lashes." So I sort of gave up on them after that. And I think that doing this does lift the eyes. Now, you could also curl your lashes. I just chose not to do that today. But I think this gives an overall really beautiful look. So this is the final look. I hope these tips were helpful to you. Now, the winners of the Lorac exfoliator from my last video are Barbara Bird and Mary Mercedes. If you both will look in the description, you'll find my email and send me your address, and I'll get these out to you this week. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate and love all of you.